So before we start, may I request the class marcher to please report?
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Fire trainee Arvin De Llosa, class marcher of 5/8/2020, last 10, class mapagmatsyag. Meron pa po tayong hinihintay ng isang hindi siguro makakunik. Kasi na lang po, sir.
How many of you are in the class? How many of you are in the class? How many are you in the class?
Complete na po, sir. We
Hindi
have
sa ilan kayo sa class? Ilan ang total strength?
total strength of 55, sir.
55.
All accounted for. Present na po lahat, sir. Nakapasok na yun.
Okay, thank you. Everybody is from Region 5?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Buong lahat ng provinces meron po representative.
Okay. Thank you, Diliosa. So anybody who is assigned to lead the prayer today, please go ahead.
Sir, ako na rin po, sir.
Go ahead, Diliosa.
Please po our head. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Diyos namin mga na nasa langit, na tunuan ng lahat, tawarin mo po kami sa aming mga naging kasalanan. At maraming salamat po sa mga biyayang ibinigay mo sa amin. At patuloy na ibinigay mo. Narito po kami ngayon sa iyo upang huwi ng kalinawan sa pag-iisip para makuha namin ang mga ituturo ng aming guro, si Sir John Gary Diaz.
Please let Diliosa not disconnected. Nandiyan pa ba si Diliosa? Diliosa, are you done? Naputol ba si Diliosa?
Naputol po sa iyo.
Go ahead, Diliosa.
Tapos, yun na po yung ano po.
Okay, thank you.
Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Diliosa, Arvin. Good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, so before anything else, thank you for asking me to be your instructor for the subjects that are assigned to me to be discussed with you in connection with your FAIE class. Unfortunately, I won't be able to be with you the whole day, every day, because, I am holding different positions also. And so I have to dedicate, of course, a time for the regular office works. Baka mapagalitan naman ako if I'm going to dedicate the whole probably 10 days with you. So pardon me for allotting only half day of every day to your class. And I also cannot promise that our discussions won't be cut because sometimes I am being called to emergency meetings, so I have to sometimes really give up the class. But anyway, I am making sure that we are able to finish the subject matter, even if it means that I have to make up classes with you para matapos natin yung subject matter. Well, I am assigned to discuss different subjects, starting from, of course, the implementing rules and regulations of the Fire Code, which is rules 1 to 9 and 11 to 14. I am also given the tasked to discuss with you um, several others like inspection report writing, general inspection procedures, um, survey mapping, um, yeah, those subjects. So I think I have around 10 days with you for the subject. Anyway, I think everybody knows me already. Siguro kilala niyo naman ako. But anyway, I am Chief Inspector John Gary Dunas. Currently, I am the Acting Provincial Fire Director of Camarines Sur and the concurrent Regional Chief of Staff of the Regional Office. So I happen to be holding two positions. So I have to report at the Camarines Sur Provincial Office and also to the Regional Office to do office works. Probably the reason why I was requested to handle these subjects with you is because of my involvement in the formulation, crafting, and then passing, and then ultimately downloading with the different regions the implementing rules and regulations of the fire code. So I was part of the technical working group which drafted the original implementing rules and regulations of the fire code. But my involvement in the crafting of the implementing rules and regulations started from the review of the old PD 1185. So we were not able to finish crafting crafting the old implementing rules and regulations of the fire code without us reviewing the old PD 1185. So my first involvement was in the subcommittees that were created for purposes of reviewing the old rules of PD 1185. If you recall, there were about 43 rules in the old PD 1185, which was the old fire code. So we have to review those implementing rules and regulations so that we'll be able to craft the new implementing rules and regulations for RA 9514. So after completing our task in the subcommittees, I was again requested to join the technical working group, which already crafted or formulated old implementing rules and regulations of RA 9514. So if I recall it right, we were housed for almost a month, at Tagaytay City, just to consolidate all the proposed contents of the old IRR. And finally, after the passage of the implementing rules and regulations, I was also tasked by the then Chief General Bandilla to join the mobile training team to cascade the IRR to the different regions of the Philippines. Aside from my involvement in the formulation of the implementing rules and regulations, I was also a member of the Fire Code Technical Staff and in the Fire Safety Technical Committee of the National Headquarters. Until just recently, when the membership of the Fire Code Technical Staff was changed. So now I am being only asked to be a resource person or an advisor or a consultant to the Fire Code Technical Staff. But before that, I had a long stint from 2008 until 2020 as member of the Fire Code Technical Staff and Fire Safety Technical Committee. So what are these Fire Safety Technical Committee and Fire Code Technical Staff? yung FARCO technical staff, we're going to discuss that in the implementing rules and regulations. This is the group that advises the Chief BFP on matters relating to the FARCO of the Philippines. Also, if there are issues that needs to be resolved, we serve as advisory group to the Chief BFP so that he can render decisions that are relating to the FARCO of the Philippines. While the Fire Safety Technical Committee is the group that evaluates proposal for alternative and or remedial fire safety measures. Whenever a building cannot comply with fire safety requirements of the FARCO of the Philippines because it will encounter structural difficulty or structural defects, meaning the structural integrity of the building may be affected, then an alternative or remedial fire safety measure is proposed. Then we are the committee that evaluates that and also recommends to the Chief BFP whether or not said proposal for alternative and or remedial fire safety measures will be approved. Before my designation as the City Fire Marshal of Legazpi, I also have a long stint as the Chief of the Fire Safety Enforcement Section of Quezon City Fire District. So medyo matagal ang experience ko sa inspection, starting from the time that I was a civilian employee as an engineer of the Bureau of Fire Protection, until the time that I was promoted to lateral entry as an inspector, until senior inspector. So I had a very long stint in the inspection function of the Bureau of Fire Protection, specifically Quezon City Fire District. I also had the opportunity to head the Fire Safety Enforcement branch of the National Capital Region. And I was also a former chief of the Fire Safety Enforcement Division of the national headquarters, replacing Engineer Miranda then when Engineer Miranda decided to transfer first to the National Capital Region. So I had also I think around a year of being the head of the Fire Safety Enforcement Division of the National Office. So yung experience ko sa inspection starts from the station to the district or the province and then to the regional office as well as the national office. So from policy making to implementation, I had an experience regarding the FARCO of the Philippines. So in this discussion, I hope to be able to share with you some of those experiences which probably you can use in your day-to-day function as the would-be fire safety inspectors of the different fire stations in the Region 5. And however, because of limited time, I'd like to admit that I cannot discuss with you everything under the FARCO of the Philippines. And of course, there will be topics in the FARCO that we cannot be able to discuss because again, of the very limited time. But even after our class, even after our year 5, my line will still be open. In fact, I'm going to be leaving with you my cell phone numbers so that when you are confronted with situations which you cannot easily decide, you can drop me a call or you can send me messages through email or Facebook Messenger, and I can probably share with you my insights on those issues, and I can probably answer your questions regarding the FARCO of the Philippines. So before we proceed, let me just state these few rules, no? Let me just state these few rules on our Zoom class. First thing first, I'd like everybody to turn off their microphones while somebody's talking. So if I'm rendering my lecture, I want everybody to turn off their microphone so that we will not be disturbed. Another thing is that please choose a venue where it is silent, no? Because if your microphone is turned on and your background is somewhat noisy, we are actually affected by it, no? So I request you to please choose a venue which is somehow a little bit silent so that we will not be disturbed. Okay? And then I want also for everybody to turn on their videos. Ayaw kong makita na may naka-turn off na video or yung mga naka-still photos. No? Background lang, nag-picture lang, and then yung picture niya nakikita without it moving. Okay, so I want everybody to please turn on their videos. And as to your attire, of course, you have a prescribed uniform for the day, whether it will be GOA, Type B, Type C, I don't care, as long as you wear your prescribed uniform for the day. So if you are prescribed to wear your GOA, please try to wear your complete GOA uniform. Okay? If you are allowed to be on Type B, then please be on Type B. So remember, we are on training. You are on training, so please kindly observe the proper attire. Okay? So if you are assigned to wear GOA, please wear GOA. Okay? And then, of course, during the discussions, there will be questions. So I am authorizing you to interrupt me and ask your questions. But please make sure that your questions are germane to the topic that we are discussing, meaning related to the topics that we are discussing. So do not ask me questions that are not yet related to our subject matter. Of course, before we end up our discussion for the entire class, I will be giving you much time or much opportunity to ask unrelated questions, meaning at the end of our discussion before we finally dismiss. Okay? For a while. I'm sorry for the interruption. I was just consulted by somebody from Valenzuela regarding fireworks. Okay. So again, you may interrupt me at any time as long as the questions are related to the topic that we are discussing. And at the end of our class, I'm going to give you a lot of opportunity to ask questions that you think are necessary to be asked with me. And then, of course, during the discussions, you may feel the need to have personal necessities, no? So, okay lang, do not interrupt me anymore. Huwag na kayong salita. Mag-message na lang kayo dun sa chat box, no? May chat box naman. Magsabi na lang kayong personal necessities. But make sure to come back, ha? Baka personal necessities nyo, tapos hindi na kayo bumalik afterwards. So, okay lang yun. Just go ahead with your personal necessities, but make sure to come back. I do not know if you have your copies of the fire code now, but during the next discussions, I want everybody to have a copy of the fire code, okay? Because whenever we are discussing, we need to consult some provisions of the fire code, and in some instances, I'm asking somebody to read it and to recite it, no? And asking for your opinions or your discussions about the different provisions. So I'd like everybody to have an advanced reading, no? Ang klase ko hindi school bukol, ha? Ang klase ko hindi school bukol. So you need to do an advanced reading, and in some instances, I'm asking somebody to recite. So, walang school bukol dito sa akin. I may have a very limited time, but I'm making sure that when I am in class, I'm making sure that it is a quality class. So, ayoko ng school bukol, so please make an advanced reading because I'm going to ask you questions. And probably there are some of you who are already assigned as a fire safety enforcer, and please do not hesitate to share your experiences, especially kung doubtful kayo dun sa pinagagawa ninyo, so that we can actually correct if there are mistakes, and if what you are doing are best practices, then we can probably share that with your classmates. Okay, so will there be any questions? Kung gusto niyo magtanong, tas ayaw niyo magsalita, pwede kayong gumamit ng chat box, and I'm going to answer your questions. Okay? So bago tayo magsimula sa ating discussion, meron bang gusto magtanong muna? You want to clarify something? Not about the topic, baka topic na agad itatanong nyo, hindi pa tayo nagsisimula ng discussion. Go ahead, guys.
Last project po, sir, train Dilosa.
Dilosa, go ahead.
3 o'clock po, meron po ba tayong coffee break or working coffee break?
No. I'm going to announce yung break. I'm going to announce yung break. Wala akong particular na oras kung anong oras ang break. So, depende yan sa takbo ng discussion natin. Pero, of course, there will be a break. But I cannot just announce what time yung break natin. Because depende yan sa discussion. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
So, we'll be ending at around 5 p.m. So, usually 1 to 5 ang ating klase. Okay? So, let us proceed. So, before anything else, let me just tell you first what is the intention of Republic Act 9514. Okay? Maraming haka-haka about the Fire Code of the Philippines. So what is really the intention of passing this law, this Republic Act 9514? We already have the PD 1185 then, di ba? In fact, PD 1185 was already 30 years old when the Bureau moved to have it amended. And finally, we are able to secure the passage of Republic Act 9514 in 2008. So what was this all about? If you recall, sa PD 1185 natin at the time, we have been asking the local government unit to collect in behalf of us. No? So yung mga panahon na yun, we do not collect, but the BFP, but the local treasurer's office or the local government units collects for us, no, insofar as the fire code fees are concerned. But along the way, there were so many problems that were encountered by the BFP. No, we were actually hoping that using that fire code fees collection, we'll be able to collect that much amount of money that can be used to finance our modernization, to finance our procurement of fire trucks, to finance our construction of the fire stations. But because it was not clear in PD 1185, some LGUs would not remit it to the National Treasury. So yung mga kinukolekta nilang fire code fees collection, they do not remit it to the National Treasury in such a way that the BFP will be able to utilize it to, buy the necessary equipment that we need. In fact, there were LGUs that utilizes its own collection and procures their own fire trucks. So, hindi nare-remit sa national government, ginagamit ng mga LGU. And worst, they're actually diverting it to some other purpose. So in short, walang napapakinabangan masyado ang Bureau of Fire. So the top management then, for a long period of time, several chiefs of the BFP started to, negotiating with Congress, asking sponsors so that a new law will be passed. So finally, during the time of General Linsangan and finally General Bandilla, the law was passed. No? This is Republic Act 9514. So our main objective then, why do we need to pass a new law, was to get the collection. Kunin natin yung collection from local government unit. At Bureau of Fire Protection na ang mangolekta, hindi na yung local government unit. Because what we want is, we will be able to collect that much amount of money to fund our modernization. And so, Republic Act 9514 was passed into law. But during deliberations in both houses of Congress, there were several introductions. No? There were several provisions that were introduced by lawmakers. No? And so, maraming mga na-introduce na pagbabago dito sa ating Republic Act 9514. So, what are those? Okay? Number one, the provision on assistance in support to fire volunteers, practitioners, and fire volunteer organizations. So, ano ang ibig sabihin nito? Some lawmakers had these experiences of firemen relating to them, their experiences with fire volunteer organizations. May mga volunteer na nakikipag-away sa BFP, may mga volunteers na ayaw sumunod sa ground commander, may mga BFP may mga fire volunteers na gusto sila na ang masunod doon sa operations. And so, what we wanted then was to accreditation. No? Actually, ang proposal natin when it was discussed in Congress was to accredit all fire volunteers and fire volunteer organizations. However, according to one of the discussions sa Senate, they can no longer be called volunteer fire brigades if there will be a need for accreditation before they are organized or before they are permitted to join the operations of the fire service. So instead of the word accreditation, the word that came out is assistance and support. So the PFP was mandated to assist and support fire volunteers, fire safety practitioners, and fire volunteer organizations. However, during firefighting operations, even if these volunteer fire brigades are duly recognized by the BFP, they shall be under the direct operational control of our ground commanders. So, anong ibig sabihin nito? Even if the volunteer fire brigade has a certificate of competency, because yung method or mode ng ating assistance and support to fire volunteer and fire volunteer organization is by means of issuing a certificate of competency to them. No? The way of recognizing, the mode of recognizing these volunteer organizations, these fire volunteers, is through the issuance of a certificate of competency. Para masabi natin na sila ay nire-recognize natin as fire volunteer or as fire volunteer organization, we issue a certificate of competency. But even if they have the certificate of competency, during firefighting operations or any emergency for that matter, they must follow the orders of the ground commanders of the Bureau of Fire Protection. And when they violate this provision, they can be penalized. They can be penalized, of course, after notice and hearing. They can be penalized by 1 month to 30 days imprisonment. 1 day to 30 days imprisonment, and a fine of not more than 5,000 pesos. So take note, this provision provides for penalties. If a fire volunteer or a fire volunteer organization does not follow the orders of the ground commanders of the Bureau of Fire Protection, after finding guilt from the volunteer organization or fire volunteers, they can be penalized by 1 day to 30 days imprisonment and a fine of 5,000 pesos. Again, and. So 1 day to 30 days and a fine of 5,000 pesos. Okay? So take note of those. So this is the example of the certificate of competency that we issue. By the way, we do not only issue certificate of competency to fire volunteers and fire volunteer organizations, but we also issue certificate of competency to fire safety practitioners. Sino naman itong fire safety practitioners na sinasabi dito? Sino naman ito? Ito naman yung mga engineers, architects, or other technical professionals who actually practice the fire protection or fire safety engineering in the Philippines. No? So even if say for example you are an engineer, but you do not possess the certificate of competency, you are not going to be recognized by the BFP as a designer, as a installer, as a constructor, and probably and maintenance personnel. Hindi kayo recognized without the certificate of competency. So those are fire safety practitioners. Ito yung example ng certificate of competency na ibinibigay natin sa fire safety practitioner. Previously, under the old implementing rules and regulations, it is the regional director who issues the COC for both fire volunteers, fire volunteer organizations, and fire safety practitioners. But in this revised implementing rules and regulations, we are now authorizing only the regional director to issue the COC for fire volunteer and fire volunteer organizations, while the fire safety practitioner may already get or may secure their certificate of competency from the chief BFP. Again, fire safety practitioners must secure their certificate of competency from the chief BFP, no longer regional director. So this is an example of a certificate of competency. Okay? Another significant feature that was introduced in the Republic Act 9514 is our call-out powers. No? Ano ba itong call-out powers? Under the Fire Code or Republic Act 9514, we can now call on the police and other law enforcement agencies, as well as local government units, to render assistance to us for the effective enforcement of the Fire Code. Take note, effective enforcement of this Fire Code. Example, sa police, we can ask them to help us implement closure orders. Uh, Other law enforcement agencies, we can probably ask, say, for example, the National Bureau of Investigation to investigate who is the authorized officers of a particular corporation where it is a subject of our inspection. Because in some instances, it is difficult for us to issue the required notices because we do not know who owns the building or who are the authorized representatives of companies which owns the building. So we can ask the National Bureau of Investigation for that assistance. And of course, pertaining to local government units, we can always ask them not to issue a business permit without the fire safety inspection certificate that is required from us. We can also ask the LGU to help us in the enforcement of the closure orders or stoppage of operations, or probably we can also ask the LGUs to provide us necessary spaces during business one-stop shop, no? During renewal of the fire safety inspection certificates every January. So we usually ask assistance from them. Okay? So these are some of the few things that we ask assistance from police, other law enforcement agencies, and local government units. Another very important provision that was introduced by Republic Act 9514 is the mandatory inspection of every building or structure at least once a year. No? So if you are the duly assigned fire marshal in a particular city or municipality, it is your obligation to inspect each and every building in your city or your municipality at least once a year. I'd like to reiterate, it is mandatory for you to inspect every building or structure in your AOR at least once a year. Okay? However, itong provision na to may exemption ito. No? Itong provision na to may exemption ito. Anybody? Any volunteer? Sa tingin nyo, anong exemption dito sa provision na yan? Which buildings do you think are exempted from the annual mandatory inspections of the BFP? Anybody? Abrera, go ahead, Ludi.
All residential po.
Single and two family dwellings. No, Ludi means, what Ludi means are single and two family dwellings. No? So, ang ibig sabihin ni Ludi, she is referring to single and two family dwellings, no, which are exempted from this mandatory inspection. Okay? All others, you need to inspect them. All others, you need to inspect them. So again, hindi dito kasama yung ating ordinaryong mga bahay. Pero, mamaya I will have a further discussion about that because there is an exemption to the exemption. There is an exemption to the exemption. So when we go to Rule 2 later on, we're going to discuss that thoroughly. Okay? Another very important provision is we can now require the building owner or occupants to submit plans and specifications and other pertinent documents for us to ensure compliance with applicable codes and standards. So currently, we are doing that during application for fire safety evaluation clearance. Applicants are required to submit plans, drawings, and specifications to us so that we can be able to evaluate and determine whether the proposed plans or buildings are in accordance with the Fire Code of the Philippines. And if it is in accordance with the Fire Code, we issue the fire safety evaluation clearance. Aside from that, during inspections, we can also ask building owners to submit to us plans and specifications to help us thoroughly evaluate the buildings. No? It is actually very useful during inspection that you have with you a copy of the plan. No? Because you are able to determine which areas are to be prioritized, and in cases where you may omit inspection, no? May mga instances na you have a very limited time, you are assigned to do inspection for several buildings in a day, and so you need to move fast. So if you have a copy of the plans of the building, you may just actually visit important areas in the building so that you will be able to determine whether or not the building may be granted a fire safety inspection certificate. Yeah. Well, the next slide is a very important provision. I hope all fire stations now are utilizing this power. The power to issue a notice to stop work for portions or entire building for violation of the approved plans and or permit or clearances or certification that we issued. No? We can also issue notice to stop work for failure to secure fire safety evaluation clearance. So use this power if, say for example, if there is an ongoing construction, building that is undergoing construction, it did actually pass your office, talagang pumunta sa inyo, kumuha ng fire safety evaluation clearance, for you to determine whether the plans that was submitted to you is actually being followed, you of course need to do an inspection during construction. Okay? And if you find out that the building that is being constructed is not actually in accordance with the plans that was submitted to you, then the fire marshal concerned can issue a notice to stop work. No? Pwede niyang ipatigil yung construction so that the contractor can make the necessary corrections. And you're not going to leave that notice to stop work unless the contractor promises to correct the deficiencies. Of course, you're going to allow the continuance of the construction if they now intend to correct the deficiencies or violations of the building. Another is the 10 to 15 days period of compliance. Now, if you recall, under PD 1185, it is 60 days. 60 days as the maximum period for compliance. I do not know what happened in Congress, why the 60 days was reduced to 15 days. I can only surmise that our lawmakers saw the importance of complying with fire safety requirements immediately, because if they are not compliant with fire safety requirements, lives would be at stake. So, I think the main reason why they actually reduced it to 15 days was because they want immediate compliance of all the fire safety violations. But if you're going to analyze it further, it is very unrealistic to other violations, especially violations that are serious. Surely, violations which needs amendments or restructuring or remodeling of buildings cannot be complied within 15 days. But then again, because that is the provision that is written in the fire code, we have to comply with it. But as we go along, discussing the IRR, I will mention a provision where you can actually extend the grace period beyond 15 days. So may mga provision naman tayo kung saan naikutan natin yung 10 to 15 days period of compliance. So, when we go to Rule 13, baka malito kayo, no? Baka malito kayo. Sabi mo niya, sir, kanina sa basic law, it is a minimum of 10 days and a maximum of 15 days for compliance. Because it is 10 to 15 days period of compliance. Bakit dito sa Rule 13, merong 24 hours, merong 3 days, merong 7 days, merong 10 days? Bakit po may lesser than 10 days? Sabi ng fire code is 10 to 15 days period for compliance. Alam niyo, the proper interpretation is, itong 10 to 15 days period of compliance only refers to the maximum period. It only refers to the maximum period of compliance. The minimum period of compliance would still be 24 hours or immediate because there are violations that cannot be tolerated to be more than 24 hours. I'd like to give you an example. Yung obstructed or obstructed fire exits or padlocked fire exits. If you saw that in a building and the building is occupied, you should immediately have it removed because by doing so, the building is actually endangering the lives of its occupants. So it cannot be tolerated for a period of more than 24 hours. Okay? So again, the proper interpretation is that this 10 to 15 days period only refers to the maximum period. The minimum period is still 1 day or 24 hours. Ito. Very useful provision, very important provision, but very seldom implemented. Why? Because majority of our fire marshals do not have the balls. No? So karamihan sa mga fire marshals natin do not have the balls to implement this. No? This is a very useful provision. The BFP may put up a sign in front of the building or structure declared as fire hazard. The notice shall bear the words, warning, this building or structure is a fire hazard. No? Just like what this picture shows you. No? Just like what this picture shows you. No? That's a building in Quezon Avenue in Quezon City. When I was still the chief of the Fire Safety Enforcement Section of Quezon City, we actually posted this warning sign in front of the building. So this is a very useful provision because it actually warns the occupants of the building that the building is a fire hazard or a fire trap. So whenever they are going inside the building, they are already aware that their lives are endangered. Okay? But currently, this is now seldom used. I do not know the reason. Probably the fire marshals do not want to have it being controversial because, if really the public would see this in buildings, then buildings would probably really be a subject of discussion. So, hindi na lang inilalagay. But I suggest that we still implement this provision because this is a mandatory requirement of the fire code. Another very good provision is this one. Authority to close. No? Authority to close any building, structure, or facility notwithstanding any permit, clearance, or certificate earlier issued by local authorities. So, even if a building is issued a business permit, even if a building is issued with occupancy permit, the BFP may still issue a closure order for that building if it is not complying with the requirements of the fire code. Of course, there are only appropriate instances where you may issue closure order, no? So we're going to discuss that when we go to Rule 13. What are the instances where you may issue a closure order? And who are authorized to issue closure order? And what will be the process of issuing the closure order? So we're going to proceed with its detailed discussions when we reach Rule 13. Okay? And then most importantly is this provision of penalties. O mga kasama, tandaan po ninyo itong penalty na to, ha? Tandaan po ninyo itong penalty na to. This is applicable to both private individual and public officer or employee. So, when I say private individual, sino ba itong mga to? Siyempre, sila yung mga persons na who are responsible for the building. Example, building owners, building administrators, business owners, building occupants, sila yung mga private individuals. Sino naman itong mga public officer or employee? The list includes fire safety inspectors, chief FSS, fire marshals, of course, anybody from the BFP who may violate the provisions of the fire code, municipal mayors, building officials, any officer of the local government unit who violates the fire code, or any other public officer for that matter who violates the provisions of the fire code. This is 6 months to 6 years imprisonment or a fine of not more than 100,000 pesos. That is the punitive penalty. No? That is the criminal aspect of the Fire Code of the Philippines. Sa administrative aspect, I'm going to discuss to you when we proceed sa Rule 13. Kung administrative case lang ang i-file sa inyo, ano yung mga penalties na pwedeng ipataw sa inyo? Kung criminal case ang i-file sa inyo, ito yung penalty. 6 months to 6 years imprisonment or a fine of not more than 100,000 pesos. Okay. Kanina, sa fire volunteers and fire volunteer organizations, if they violate or did not follow the order of the ground commanders of the BFP, they may only be penalized by 1 day to 30 days imprisonment and a fine of 5,000 pesos. Yun yung fire volunteer. Pero dito sa atin, sa public officer or employee, 6 months to 6 years imprisonment, no? Or a fine of not more than 100,000 pesos. So, napakasimple lang naman pala yung napakasimple lang naman pala yung penalty sa atin, Sa pag ikaw fire safety inspector ka, nagrekomenda ka ng FSIC sa isang building kahit may violation, simple lang naman pala ang iyong penalty, no? The penalty is transfer of assignment. Diba? Simple lang naman ang penalty, transfer of assignment from Bureau of Fire Protection to Bureau of Jail Management and Penology. Hindi ka nga lang jail guard, preso ka. No? The transfer of assignment. After you are found guilty, again, another transfer naman of service yan. Transfer of service from DILG to DOJ. Doon ka sa National Bilibid Prisons. because you are found guilty of violating the Fire Code of the Philippines. So, tandaan ninyo mga kasama ha, ang penalty pag nag-violate ka sa Fire Code of the Philippines at nahatulan ka ay transfer of assignment. Transfer of assignment. That is from DILG to BFP. DILG to DOJ. Nandun ka sa National Philippine Prisons for 6 months to 6 years. Okay. Kung ang hatol mo ay 6 months lang kasi hindi naman masyadong matindi yung ginawa mo, baka nasa nasa BGMP ka lang. Nandiyan ka sa district jail or nasa provincial jail. Wala ka doon sa Department of Justice, sa National Philippine Prisons. So, tandaan ninyo mga kasama yan ha. And I am only discussing about the Fire Code of the Philippines. Later on, when we have detailed discussions, I'm going to discuss to you other laws that you may also violate if you violate the provisions of the Fire Code. Example of which is the revised Penal Code, which has a separate penalty. Okay? So, another very important provision is, of course, the administrative fine for violators of the Fire Code. This is a maximum amount of 50,000 pesos. So, when do we impose the fine? I'm going to discuss that with you under Rule 12 and Rule 13. Okay? And then this time around, we now collect the Fire Code fees from the owners. No? Tayo na ang nangungulekta, hindi na yung local government units. That is the main aim when we actually proposed for the amendments of the old PD 1185. Yan yung pinakagusto natin mangyari. Makuha natin yung Fire Code fees collection from the local government units. But now, this provision is again amended. LGUs are now again authorized to collect, provided they are going to remit it to the BFP. So later on, when we go to Rule 12, I'm going to discuss to you the details of that law. Okay? Yung bagong batas, yan yung Ease of Doing Business Law or 101325. Allowing again the local government units to be deputized by the BFP as our collecting agents. So not only that, of course, the assessment is now vested to the BFP. Okay? Both assessment and collection may now again be delegated to the LGU pursuant to the law that I mentioned to you. Okay? And then, most importantly, the last but not the least, and I think this is the most important provision of the Republic Act 9514. Our authority now to use the income generated under the Fire Code of the Philippines for our modernization. Before, our collections were, during the PD 1185 time, our collections were being remitted to the National Treasury. And that collection becomes general fund. It is actually incorporated under the general fund. So nahalo-halo siya doon sa general fund ng national government. But this time around, of this time around, the collection for the fire code fees is now put under a trust fund. Put under a trust fund specifically for the modernization of the Bureau of Fire Protection. So, kayong mga baguhan sa BFP, you may not have observed the difference between the BFP before and then the BFP now. Nung pumasok ako sa BFP in 2002, and ngayon, I can safely say that a lot has already improved. A lot has already improved. Marami na tayong improvement na nangyayari. And these improvements will further be boosted when we finally utilize all of our fire code fees collection to buy new equipment. And what actually triggered us? What actually triggered us to revise the implementing rules and regulations is to collect more. Doon sa old IRR, we were only collecting around 2 billion a year. We were only collecting around 2 billion a year in the entire Philippines. But because of this revised implementing rules and regulations, which we actually increased the amount of fees to be collected, we are now targeting around 4 billion a year. So if you have 4 billions, that means more fire trucks, more constructions of fire stations. We can probably provide fire stations to those without fire stations. We can probably provide fire trucks to those without fire trucks. And we can replace the old and ailing fire trucks that we have. So that's the main purpose why we have RA 951. Okay, so this is all about the main law. That's the main purpose why we have RA 951. Okay? So, before we proceed, 5 minutes ladder break. 5 minutes ladder break, and then after our 5 minutes ladder break, we proceed first to questions, and then we proceed to rules 1 to 9. Okay, 5 minutes ladder break. Before we proceed, is anybody here who would like to ask a question? Wala? Okay, so we are now going to proceed to rules 1 to 9. Of the revised implementing rules and regulations of the fire code. So we have here the different rules of the revised implementing rules and regulations of the fire code of the Philippines. Originally, the old IRR was composed of 14 rules. Here in this revised implementing rules and regulation, we have again 14. We did not actually change the number of rules, but the only thing that we did was to change the title of Rule 5. Yun lang naman ang binago namin dyan sa formatting. Nagbago lang tayo ng title. So, ano pa rin siya? We still have 14 rules. From rules 1 to 14. Rule 1 is interpretation. Rule 2 is coverage. This will tell you what are those that are covered by the provisions of the fire code. In that particular rule, we are going to discuss which are covered and which are not covered by the provisions of the fire code. And then, Rule 3 talks about the definition of terms. Whenever there are terminologies that you think is very difficult to understand, so you may consult Rule 3, and doon it will discuss to you what is all about it. So, for example, what is the difference between an automatic fire suppression system and approved supervised sprinkler system, so on and so forth. Okay, and then Rule 4 is the authority of the Chief of the Bureau of Fire Protection to administer and enforce the provision of the fire code. Okay? And then Rule 5 is all about the fire code technical staff. Yung dating title ng Rule 5 is BIP reorganization and professionalization. Now we have changed it to fire code technical staff. And then Rule 6 is fire brigades, fire volunteer organizations, and fire safety practitioners. So under Rule 6, we discussed the process of issuance of the certificate of competency and when are fire brigades required in buildings. Okay. And then Rule 7 is assistance and support to the BFT. This is detailing what are the necessary assistance and support that we can ask from other government agencies insofar as our call-out power is concerned. So, dyan nakadetalye ano ang pwede natin hingin sa PNP, sa National Bureau of Investigation, sa local government unit, sa Land Transportation Office, and so on and so forth. Rule 8 is talking about the qualifications of the fire safety enforcers. Itong provision na to, masyado siyang controversial, yung Rule 8 na yan, because we actually introduced qualifications for the Chief of the Fire Safety Enforcement Section. Sa lumang PDL, sa lumang IRR, in the old IRR, we did not provide for any qualifications for Chief FSS. But this time around, we included the required qualification of the Chief FSS. And then, Rule 9 is enforcement and administration. Rule 9 is the provision that states how you issue the FSIC, how you issue the fire safety evaluation clearance, what are the step-by-step process in the conduct of inspection, and so on and so forth. So, that is rule enforcement and administration. Rule 10 is detailing the fire safety requirements. Ano ba yung mga fire safety requirements sa buildings? Ano ba yung mga fire safety requirements sa hazardous materials, sa hazardous operations? Pursuant to Section 7 of the main law. Section 7 provides that we should prescribe fire safety measures for buildings, structures, and facilities, hazardous materials, and hazardous operations. Rule 11 is the repetition of the different prohibited acts enumerated under the Fire Code, under Republic Act 9514. Rule 12 is the details of the Fire Code taxes, fees, and charges, and fines for violating the Fire Code, taxes that are required when they are having certain transactions in the BFP, what are the fees for applications of different clearances. And then, Rule 13 is the administrative courses of action. This details the process of issuing the required notices, notice to comply, notice to correct violation, abatement order, closure, and so on and so forth. And then, Rule 14 are the miscellaneous provisions of the Fire Code of the Philippines. So, yan yan basically ang laman ng IRR, revised IRR natin. Okay? By the way, as we speak now, the revised implementing rules and regulation is fully operational, fully effective, because it was effective last October 19, 2009. Okay? So it was published last year. The revised implementing rules and regulation was published last year. It became effective October 17, 2019. So as we speak now, it is fully effective. So this is how your file code looks like before. Then it PD 1185, then it becomes RA 95.4 with its old IRR, and now we have the revised implementing rules and regulations. So let us proceed to Rule 1. Rule 1 again is talking about interpretation. Simple lang naman ang sinasabi ng Rule 1. Whenever you are reading the provisions of the Fire Code of the Philippines, it should be interpreted as one promoting public safety. No? So, whenever there are conflicts between provisions of codes, technical codes for that matter, example, the National Building Code, and then the Fire Code of the Philippines, if there is any conflict, the proper way of interpreting it is that whichever code has more strict provisions should be followed. No? Ang palaging example ko dyan yung firewall separating the row houses, which according to the fire code was being 1 meter above the ridge line of the roof. No? Sa atin, 1 meter. Sa National Building Code, 0.4 meters. So, alin ba ang masusunod? Alin ba ang mas maigpit? Mas maigpit yung 1 meter. Di observe yung 1 meter. So, because if you follow the 1 meter, then you will not have some problems with 0.4. Another thing is, when you read the provisions of the Fire Code, you should interpret it as promoting economic development. No? So, when you want to promote economic development, the way you should interpret the Fire Code must not be too restrictive. No? Alam mo, ang problema sa atin, some of our fire safety enforcers, which include inspectors, chief execs, and even fire marshals, are using the provisions of the Fire Code for their personal enrichment. Nakikita nila yung provision na Fire Code para yumaman, no? Para magpayaman. So even if there is a very simple interpretation of the Fire Code, they want to be too strict. No? They want to read it by the letter because they want somebody, the owners, to actually negotiate with them. No? And so when they negotiate with them, they probably talk of money in exchange of something. So that's the problem. The provisions of the Fire Code is not there to make sure that it's difficult for business owners. But the provisions of the Fire Code is there, number one, to promote public safety, and secondly, to promote economic development. Last provision, or last purpose, is professionalization of the fire service. So when we say professionalization of the fire service, we do not mean that fire safety enforcers should be baccalaureate degree holders. We do not mean that fire safety enforcers must be college graduate. When we say professionalization of the fire service under the Fire Code, we mean putting the right people on the right job. Again, uulitin ko, putting the right people on the right job. That's why we have Rule 8. Nararapat na tao sa tamang posisyon. Okay? Because I know that you will agree with me after completing your class in the Fire Code. I know that you're going to agree with me that the Fire Code is really very difficult. It's not made for people who are not trained. No? Even if you are a professional, even if you are an engineer or an architect for that matter, if you read the Fire Code of the Philippines for the first time, I'm sure you're not going to understand it. So how much more if you do not possess the necessary educational background? So paano kung teacher ka? Paano kung nurse ka? Paano kung criminologist ka? Paano kung ibang profession ka? So it's really very difficult for you. And I hope that you're going to admit that in the future. But the file code also allows opportunity for you to be a fire safety enforcer. However, you need to study. You need to learn. So, kung ako, as an engineer, made so much effort to really understand the provisions of the fire code from the time that I entered the BFP, I had to study fire safety engineering. I had to enroll in special classes in fire safety engineering from Piat University. I had to take a separate short course on fire protection design, fire sprinkler design. I had to make that effort to really understand the provision of the fire code. Much more to you. Much more to you. Because, number one, you do not possess the basic educational background to implement the provision of the fire code. No? If you have other background, you need to really double your effort for you to be a really good enforcer of the provisions of the fire code. So hindi ko po sinasabi, hindi ko po kayo minamaliit. Hindi ko po sinasabi dito na hindi kayo ang sinasabi ko po is, I want you to study hard, learn hard, for you to be a very good enforcer of the Fire Code of the Philippines, because everybody, again, I'd like to reiterate, everybody is given a chance to be an enforcer of the Fire Code of the Philippines. In fact, when we go to Rule 8, you will understand that everybody of us may become fire safety enforcers. However, it will just be very difficult for you. So, again, what I would like to say is, you need to make an effort, probably an effort that is double than mine, or triple than mine, for you to be able to understand the provisions of the fire code. Okay. Another thing, professionalization of the fire service means that you're not going to enrich yourself from the provisions of the fire code. Pwede ba na yung batch ninyo, tigilan na yung pagbebenta ng fire extinguisher? Okay? I hope that this class will actually change the current practices where inspectors tend to prioritize the delivering of the fire extinguisher over requiring what is necessary in the building. Okay, so I hope this generation of yours will already change the mindset of the public na ang mga bumbero, mga fire safety inspectors, puro corrupt. No? Sana mabago natin yan. You know, nung nagsimula tayo, sinabi ko sa inyo, marami akong experience sa fire code, including bad experiences. I had instances where pagpasok mo pa lang sa building and you are introducing yourself as a fire safety inspector, ang sinasabi agad nung nasa building, sir, ayan po yung fire extinguisher. ang tawag sa iyo, Mr. Fire Extinguisher. No? Mr. Fire Extinguisher. So, ang pangit ng reputation ng BFP. No? When you get inside a particular establishment and then you identify yourself as fire safety inspector, they think agad na manghihingi ka. They think agad na magbebenta ka ng fire extinguisher. Because that's what our predecessors did. Yun yung ginawa ng ating mga nauna sa atin. Instead of enforcing the provisions of the fire code properly, they only inspect for purposes of delivering fire extinguisher at kumita. Okay, so I hope this generation, you will already stop that practice. Because later on, when we go to Rule 13, I'm going to discuss to you laws that penalizes these acts. Not only the fire code of the Philippines. For a while. Okay, so sorry for the interruption. So this is what Rule 1 is all about. No? This is about how do you interpret the provision of the fire code and what is the purpose of the fire code of the Philippines. So let's proceed to Rule 2. Rule 2 is now the coverage. No? Yeah. So A is talking about all persons, either natural or juridical persons. So when we say natural persons, tayo yun, no? Mga tao. When we say juridical persons, we refer to entities that are created by law, no? Like corporations, partnerships, organizations. These are juridical persons. So both of them, all persons, both natural or juridical, they are covered by the provisions of the Fire Code of the Philippines. So owners of buildings, occupants of buildings, tenants of buildings, they are covered. So corporations that own buildings, like say for example, SM. The SM is a corporation. San Miguel Corporation, ABS-CBN Corporation, GMA Network, all of these are corporations. They're covered by the provisions of the Fire Code of the Philippines. Next is all buildings, facilities or structures, and their premises, erected or constructed before and after the effectivity hereof. So again, all buildings, facilities, or structures, and their premises. What is important in this letter B is the retroactivity clause. What is important in this letter B is the retroactivity clause. Buildings, structures, and facilities in their premises erected or constructed before and after the effectivity hereof. So, ibig sabihin nito, kahit existing ka ng buildings, you still need to comply with the provisions of the Fire Code. Kahit nakatayo ka na, nung naging effective ang provision ng Fire Code, kailangan mo pa rin sumunod. Alam niyo, meron ba nag-aaral ng batas dito sa klase? Meron ba ditong law graduate? May LLB ba rito? May loko-lokong bumbero ba rito? Wala? Sino ba dito ang Sino ba dito ang LLB graduate? Anybody? Or those who are taking up law? Meron ba? Walang gustong umamin. Anyway, sige. Kung walang gustong umamin, ganito na lang. If you're familiar with the Civil Code of the Philippines, if you're familiar with the Civil Code of the Philippines, the Civil Code provides that laws shall have no retroactive effect. Laws should not have retroactive effect. Pero may exemption yan. May exemption yan. Sabi ng Civil Code, dapat lahat daw ng batas sa Pilipinas prospective in application. What do you mean by prospective in application? Kung may batas na ipinasa ngayon, only acts tomorrow will be covered. My actions yesterday are not supposed to be covered. Halimbawa, example, may pinasang batas ngayon na pinagbabawal ang HHWW. Alam niyo ba yung HHWW? Holding hands while walking. Bawal, pinagbabawal na. May batas na ipinasa ngayon. Effective ngayon, effective ngayong araw. So kung nag-HHWW ka bukas at nahuli ka, covered ka ng provision ng batas na yun. Mapipenalize ka. Halimbawa, pag nag-violate ka ng HHWW, makukulong ka ng 1 buwan. So pag nahuli ka bukas at na-found guilty ka, kulong ka ng 1 buwan. Pero kung nag-HHWW ka kahapon, ngayon pa lang ipinasa yung batas, hindi covered, Hindi covered yung action mo kahapon. Because laws are supposed to be applied prospectively. Okay? Now, there are laws in the Philippines that are retroactive. May mga batas na retroactive. Example, by the way, ano ang exemption doon sa prospective in application? Meaning, laws that are retroactive. Number 1 is when the law provides for its retroactivity. Yan ang Fire Code of the Philippines. The law provides for its retroactivity. Sabi ng Fire Code, buildings, facilities, or structures in their premises erected or constructed before and after the effectivity hereof. So there is a retroactive clause. So that's why even if you are an existing building, you should still comply with whatever are the fire safety requirements of the Fire Code. Another exemption is sa criminal law, Sa criminal law. When the law is what? When the law is favorable to the accused. When the law is favorable to the accused. That is what they did with Robin Padilla. That is what they did. If you remember, Robin Padilla was convicted of illegal possession of firearms. Kung naalala ninyo, that was during the time of Ramos. Robin Padilla was convicted of the crime of illegal possession of firearms. Because Robin Padilla was a parang ninong niya yata si Fidel Ramos, if I'm not mistaken. Parang ninong niya si Fidel Ramos. President Ramos then ordered Congress to pass a law, shortening the period of penalty for illegal possession of firearms. So, nung ipinasa yung batas ngayon, iniklian nila yung penalty, yung pagkakulong ng illegal possession of firearms. Isa si Robin Padilla sa nabinipisyuhan because at the time it was passed, Robin Padilla already completed the minimum incarceration period according to the new law. So why is it applicable to Robin Padilla? Because the law is favorable to him. No? So in case of criminal law, you can claim that it is favorable. So if there are laws that are favorable to the accused, then that may be retroactive to the accused. Okay? Example, yung naging controversial na mga batas sa kay Mayor Sanchez. Ano nga yun? Yung good conduct pass allowance. So it also has retroactive effect. So yan yung mga example ng mga may retroactive effect na batas. Kasama dyan ang Fire Code of the Philippines because yung Fire Code provides for its retroactivity. Yan, sabi niya sa letter B, buildings, facilities, or structures in their premises erected or constructed before and after its effectivity. Okay? So letter C, design and installation of mechanical, electronics, and electrical systems relative to fire protection are also covered by the provisions of the Fire Code. So, pag magdidisenyo ka ng mechanical, mag-i-install ka ng mechanical, electronics, and electrical system na related sa fire protection, it is also covered by the provisions of the Fire Code. But I just would like to clarify this, class. Not all mechanical, not all electronics, and not all electrical systems are covered by the Fire Code. Not all mechanical, not all electrical, and not all electronic systems are covered by the provisions of the Fire Code. Only those that are related to fire protection. So, hindi lahat ng electrical system na nasa building ay covered ng Fire Code. Hindi lahat. Only those that are related to fire protection. So, halimbawa, magbigay nga kayo ng, halimbawa, elevator. Elevator is a mechanical system. Mechanical system. So, design and installation of mechanical system is covered by the provision of the Fire Code as long as it is related to fire protection. So, when can an elevator, which is a mechanical system, be covered by the provisions of the Fire Code? Only when that elevator serves a high-rise building. But if an elevator is not in any way designed or purpose to be a fire lift or fireman's elevator, then it is not covered by the provisions of the Fire Code. Bakit sinabi ko na pag ang elevator ay nasa high-rise building, covered siya ng provision ng Fire Code of the Philippines? Because according to the Fire Code, in high-rise building, at least one of the elevators must be a fireman's elevator. So, if an elevator is installed in a high-rise building and it is a single elevator, that means that elevator must be a fireman's elevator. Okay? So, but when an elevator is only serving a low-rise building, then that elevator is not covered by the provisions of the Fire Code because that elevator is not in any way related to fire protection. Okay. Electrical system. Is an electrical system, yung electrical system sa that power, say, for example, the entire house, will it be covered by the provisions of the Fire Code? The answer is simply no. The answer is simply no. Because it is not in any way related to fire protection. But if an electrical system powers a fire pump, if an electrical system powers a fire alarm system, then that electrical supply must be covered by the provisions of the Fire Code of the Philippines because it is related to fire protection. Okay? Next, manufacturing, storage, handling and or use and transportation of explosives and or combustible, flammable liquids and gases, toxics and other hazardous materials, and operations and their waste. So hazardous material is covered by the provision of the Fire Code of the Philippines. Letter E, fire safety planning, design, construction, repair, maintenance, rehabilitation, and demolition of buildings. They are also covered by the provisions of the Fire Code. Next is fire protective and warning equipment or system, land transportation vehicles and equipment or vessels that appears or wards or anchored in seaports, and petroleum industry installation. So let us go back to letter G. I'd like to have a detailed discussion on letter G. So letter G. So sabi sa letter G, land transportation vehicles and equipment or ships na naka-anchor sa pier or wharf or sa seaports, they're actually covered by the provisions of the Fire Code. However, this provision, this letter G, is not a self-executing provision. Ano ang ibig kong sabihin ng not self-executing provision? It cannot be implemented in the absence of other provisions of the Fire Code. Hindi mo pwedeng i-implement yung letter G na yan hanggat walang ibang provision of the Fire Code of the Philippines which provides for safety measures for land transportation vehicles and ships or vessels. Unfortunately, as we speak today, there is no provision of the Fire Code which provides for safety measures of land transportation vehicles and ships. Okay? So, even if that is provided there under letter G, hindi pa rin natin pwedeng i-implement. Kasi wala pa tayong fire safety measures for land transportation vehicle. Kahit balik-balik rin mo ang Fire Code. Under Rule 10, there is no prescribed fire safety measures for buses, for trucks, for tricycle, for motorcycles, or any other land transportation vehicle for that matter. So even if letter G provides that you should cover it, there is no fire safety provision. So kahit sinasabi ng letter G na ang mga ships or vessels that are docked at quays are supposed to be covered by the provisions of the Fire Code. Pag pumunta ka sa Rule 10, wala namang sinasabing fire safety measure pagdating sa ships or vessels. O anong i-impose mo when you inspect? So again, letter G is not a self-executing provision. So even if it's there, you cannot implement letter G, no? Because there is no equivalent or complementing provision under Rule 10. So, para ma-implement mo yung letter G na yan, dapat meron tayong pinaguhugutan na provision sa Rule 10. Pupunta ka doon sa bus terminal, mag-i-inspection ka. Pag akyat mo ng bus, paano mo titingnan kung compliant siya o hindi? Kasi wala ka naman pinagbabasihan sa Fire Code. Unlike building, when you go to building, masasabi mo kung yung building ay compliant o hindi. Bakit? Under Rule 10, you have different types of occupancies. Assembly, educational, healthcare, business, residential. And each type of occupancy have individual fire safety requirements. So kahit anong building ang puntahan mo, pwede mong ma-inspection at masabi kung may violation o wala. Pero pag pumunta ka sa bus, nagsakay ka sa bus, hindi mo masabi kung may violation o wala kasi walang fire safety requirements sa Rule 10. Okay? So I hope everybody understands that. Kahit nandyan. So, yung iba, may mga munisipyo na nangungulekta ng fire safety inspection fee sa tricycle. Nangungulekta ng fire safety inspection fee sa boat. Kasi anya sir, pinapakuha ni Mayor ng business permit. Yung FSIC is a prerequisite for business permit. No FSIC, no business permit. That's true. But not in all types of business permits. Ha? Hindi ibig sabihin, applicable yung provision na yan sa lahat ng klase ng business permit. Hindi po. No? Hindi po. Only those with buildings, structures, and facilities, and hazardous materials and hazardous operations may be inspected. Other than that, kung wala kang makita sa Rule 10, hindi mo siya pwedeng inspectionin. Halimbawa, tricycle. Wala namang provision sa fire code about tricycle. So how can you inspect? Kaya nga, Fire Safety Inspection Certificate. So how can you issue an FSIC without the inspection? And if you inspect, how can you inspect if you do not have a basis? Ano ang inspeksyonin mo sa tricycle kung wala kang pinagbabasihan kung ano ang fire safety requirement ng tricycle? Okay? So, I hope that is very clear to everybody. Meron ba kayong tanong dyan? May question ba kayo?
Sir,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
ako, 13 Abrera, sir.
Go ahead, Ruby.
Ako, isa yan sa mga napapansin ko, lalo na yung mga mga municipality na nag-require talaga ng business permit doon sa mga bangka-bangka, sir.
Yes.
So, ano sir, gagawin namin dyan? Ano po ang magandang gawin ng isang municipality dyan, isang station, doon sa mga bangka-bangka? Hindi tayo mag-issue ng FSIC. Paano kung hindi naman issuehan ng municipal na business permit na requirements ang FSIC?
O, kaya, ang kailangan gawin ngayon ni Fire Marshal is to write a letter to the mayor or to the head of the PPLO informing them that these kinds of establishments are not required to secure FSIC because they are not covered by the provisions of the Fire Code. So siguro naman, pag naka-receive na ganyang letter si Mayor at saka si head ng BPLO, hindi na nila pipilitin kumuha ng FSIC kasi hindi nga required. No? Hindi nga required. Tapos, isa pang napapansin ko is, when you are required to submit the number of registered business establishments in your AOR based on the certification from BPLO, hindi nyo man lang tinitingnan yung listahan ng BPLO. Yung listahan ng BPLO includes ambulant vendors. You know, sometimes it includes tricycles. Sometimes it includes motorboats. Sometimes it includes habal-habal, which are not covered by the provisions of the Fire Code. So dapat lilinisin nyo yung listahan. You actually clean up the list at yung malinis na listahan, give it back to the BPLO and have them certified. Para hindi siya nakakount as part of our registered business establishments because they are not supposed to be collected with inspection fee. No? Mag-ingat tayo because there is this violation under the revised penal code called illegal exaction. No? Illegal exaction meaning nangungulekta ka na hindi mo naman dapat kolektahan without any basis at all. So that is a criminal offense under the revised penal code. So mag-ingat po, mag-ingat. Kasi they're not supposed to be covered by the provisions of the Fire Code and yet to impose fees on them. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Question, sir.
Go ahead, Rogel.
Sir, paano po yung mga fish vendor pag kumukuha sila sa amin ng kuhan ng business permit, kailan pa ba namin magpagbiyari nyo?
Hindi na covered ang fish vendors. No?
Ako po.
Yung fish vendor, ito ha, i-clarify ko, Rogel ha. Kung yung fish vendor may sariling pwesto, may structure, covered sila. Ha? Pero kung yung fish vendor naglalako, bila-bilao, they are not covered because they are called ambulant vendors.
Kung sa market sila, sir.
Hindi, kung sa market, merong pwesto yun eh. May structure, di ba? O di covered sila kasi may pwesto, may structure eh. Di ba?
Okay.
Balikan natin to, Rogel. Tingnan mo ha. Ayan. Ayan o. Sa letter B, basahin mo. All buildings, facilities, or structures. Malinaw?
Opo.
So, pag walang building, walang facility, walang structure, ano ang inspeksyonin mo? Like yung ambulant vendor, yung bilao. Halimbawa, yung mga nandiyan sa gilid ng palengke, di ba? Yung mga pag madaling araw, may mga bila-bilao, nagtitinda ng kamatis, nagtitinda ng sibuyas, yung mga sarili nilang produkto. Ngayon, para payagan sila ng munisipyo magtinda dyan, kinukolektahan sila ng, ayun na to, how much amount? Minsan, nire-require pang dumaan sa atin, no need. They are not covered by the fire code. Okay? Clarification?
Sir,
Where are we?
sir, may tanong na po. Yung sa about sa ambulant vendor, dito kasi sa amin, required na may mayor's permit. Tapos may mga, may attachment galing sa, required tayo nila.
Hindi nga RV, di ba? Sabi ko, pag walang building, pag walang facility, pag walang structure, hindi required, hindi covered. So kahit kumukuha yan ng business permit, hindi kailangan dumaan sa atin. The municipality or the LGU can immediately issue the business permit even without the FSIC because they are not supposed to get FSIC. Okay, Arvin?
Kahit walang kasi, siguro sir, dapat malinawan yung LGU sir.
Kaya nga, di ba? Kaya nga sinabi ko, Arvin, dapat the municipal fire marshal should write the LGU. Should write the mayor that they are not covered. They are not supposed to be required. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Advisean mo yung fire marshal mo. Okay?
Sir, question.
Briones, go ahead, Briones.
Sir, how about po, sir, yung mga converge po, sir? Ganun po, sir. Yung nagkakabit po, sir, ng mga internet connections, sir, sa mga poste.
Okay.
Nagsisecure din po sila ng business permit po.
Question, ano ang inspectionin mo sa kanila?
Yun nga po, sir, sabi ko rin kay MFM, poste ang inspeksyonin, sir.
Hindi eh.
Kaya, sir, po.
So, ganito ha. Usually, kaya naman sila kumukuha ng business permit yan sa munisipyo na yan. Kasi ayaw sila papasukin. Di ba? So, dapat may i-declare silang opisina or location dyan sa munisipyo ninyo. So, ang i-inspectionin mo, yung dineclare niyang opisina. Okay?
Okay po, sir. Kung wala po, sir, hindi na po.
Kung wala, hindi. I'm sure may business yan. I mean, may office. Kasi, doon, di ba sa business permit, may address?
Opo, sir. From the neighboring city, sir, yung main office po nila.
Kaya nga. Pero dyan sa munisipyo ninyo, anong address ang ginamit? Yun ang question ko.
Naga City rin, sir.
Okay. So, in that case, there's no need to inspect. Okay? Hindi yan required ng FSIC.
Okay po, sir. Salamat po.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Evelyn, go ahead.
Part-training ito. Sir, dito po sa case namin, plus municipality, kadaklan sir, sa labit lang na tindahan. Kunyan po, dati kasi parang nagtawag reconciliation sa na kasi ng sign ng permit, pupuntin yung nag-isa mo. Kaya lang sa case mo yun, sir, na pinapatupad na itong yung RIRR. Sir, kung magbabayad sa inang sa labit, As in, sa litang mga kamatis, pero nasa harong. Ang bayadan sa munisipyo is nasa 150-200. Sa tuya, sir, 500.
Yeah.
Yan, sir. Dahil na kami nagtatali kang record ng kasi kung na-notice me, pinaano mi kang mga release nila. Kaya kung sir naman, actually natin ayos na. Kaya lang nagbalik na naman mo yan, sir, kang RIRR. Gano'n na 300 na. So, kada kung na sir, sinang-release na rin nagtatali sa mo. Sir, ang dapat ipunin kayo, sir, na ka-in-inspection nila, sir, sa dito naman talaga, sir. Talaga pong kaya lang, inuupi ka sa munisipyo, talaga na,
hindi. Ganito, Evelyn. Okay. So, ang issue talindi is whether or not they are required to secure FSIC. Base sa istorya mo, mukhang required kasi sabi mo, may sadiring structure, nasa harong nga lang.
Opo.
Nasa harong, parang sari-sari store niya, no? Minalo, sari-sari store.
Parang sari-sari store nga ni sir.
Kaya nga ni, parang sari-sari store siya. So, whether or not it is required by FSIC, the answer is yes. Required siya kumuha ng FSIC. So, ang issue tadigdi is, bako na ini about whether ambulant vendor or bako, ang issue tadigdi is yung, which is the 500 pesos. Minimum of 500, di ba? Yun na ang issue mo niya na siguro.
Yes po.
Di kitang magiginibo yan, Evelyn, as long as required sila na magkuhaki FSIC, kaya puwantang i-impose o 500. So, ngunyan, ang pigigibo ng LGU, papalusot na, pig-issue na kay-business permit, na nag-aagi sa tuya, malawag na duman mo yan, so obligasyon ta to inspect. Ha? So, kita sa munisipyo, dahil aram ka na papalusotan na kita ng LGU, diyan na malawag sa trabaho ta ng periodic inspection o regular inspection. Kita na ang malibot para hilingon kung may mga FSIC sa mga negosyo dyan.
Actually, sir, sir, na-found na kang sa mga checkers talaga. Kaya naman naaraman nila, kami mga persona na kayo nila data sa mga. Tapos, inapol na nila. Wala nila, sir. Si iba naman, ang nasun kasi kang kaya ako nga sa dito. Ang primiminganin sinasabi mo, ang magiging nasaan yan.
Yung
Tapos po kami. Yun sir, sir, kahit halimbawa inspection namin ulit, dahil minasinakai-con pa kaya nun ulit, dahil nakaano na nga ni, for the sake of inspection na lang.
What do you mean dahil nang pabayaran ulit? Ano yung sabihin? Bayad na before?
Sa mo, sir, Mayo. Kaya lang, sir, pinalusot yung dahil, isyuhan yung mayor's permit kasi ang iba nagkukuha o sa latika, sa lending. Wala utang sindarin. Although hihiling mo si tindahan, halos kung nangyari sabi lang yung tindahan. Halimbawa, mamansin ng mga dipote, mamansin karilyo, tumuti or mga kamatis, sibuyas, gano'n yung mga basic needs na.
Pero dahil kitang Evelyn, dahil kitang magigibo as long as may structure eh. So, actually, silimbag mo na rin, Evelyn, so hapot mo eh. No? Dahil man ako kiibang may tarang sa Indo na pwedeng paligtas. So, dahil man talaga, kasi nga, yan ang, that is what is written sa file code na minimum of 500. Ang pigasabi ko sa Indo, na data dapat pagsingilon. So, mga ambulant vendors, dahil maki-structure, dahil maki-building, dahil maki-facility. Yun yung pigataran ko sa Indo. Pero in that case,
picturatan mo naman, sir, si mga concern, ano nga ito ang count-up me. So, lang, sir, ito yung mangyari sa analysis. Yeah. Na po, sir.
Required talaga, Evelyn. If you ask me, it's really required. You really have to push the implementation of that 500 pesos. Kasi yan naman talagang ang kaipuhan. Pero, so mga dahil mga kaipuhan, ito sa pagkawan ko i-stress. Dahil na pagsikilan pag dahil mga kaipuhan. Yeah? Iba pang may apot? Go ahead, De La Cruz.
Sir, dito po kasi sa Mercedes, nagsisingil po kami sa mga bangka. Kasama po ba yun, sir?
Hindi nga eh. Di ba? Diniscuss ko na. Anong sinisingil nyo sa bangka? Inspection fee?
SIC din, sir.
O kaya nga, tingnan mo Balikan natin yung balikan natin yung sabi ko sa letter G. Yan. All land transportation vehicles and equipment or ships or vessels that appears or what. So yan, di ba? Probably yan ang basis ninyo.
Yes, sir.
Pero, pumunta ka sa Rule 10. Anyway, darating tayo sa Rule 10. Pagdating natin sa Rule 10, mapapansin ninyo na walang fire safety requirements pagdating sa mga bangka. So, ang tanong ko sa iyo is, nung nag-inspection ka sa bangka na yon, paano mo nasabing safe yung bangka? Wala ka namang pinagbabasihan.
Yes, sir.
Di ba tsamba yung pag-i-inspection mo?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, therefore, you should not collect. Because there is no basis
Matagal na sir dito, sir. Talagang ganyan ang
Okay na nga. Ngayon, nalaman mo na hindi dapat required. Okay?
Kahit sir, yung mga malaking bangka, sir, na ang laman is mga, minsan, 50 tao, 30
Kahit malaking bangka, there is no standard under Rule 10
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wala tayong pagbabasihan. Antayin ninyo na, actually, currently, nakikipag-usap tayo sa Marina. Marina kasi ang may control sa kanila
Yes, sir.
Nakikipag-usap tayo sa Marina para mag-impose tayo ng mga fire safety requirements sa bangka. Hanggat hindi natatapos yun at hindi tayo nakakapag-add ng provision sa fire code about fire safety for ships or vessels, wala pa tayong magagawa. Okay, Alan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Dati, sir, nalinaw na kami, sir. Narinig, sir, ng mga kasama ko dito, sir. Kasi matagal sinisingil sila.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Salamat, sir. Thank you very much. Malaging sa amin, sir. Thank you po.
Any other?
Hello, sir. Good afternoon po.
Sino yun?
Fire training review po.
Go ahead, Maricel.
Sir, ang tanong ko lang po, example yung sa baga, mga contractor. Kasi po, may mga nag-apply for this FSIC clearance po dito sa amin. Pag tinanong namin kung saan yung office nila, kasi dito po ako, sir, sa Ligao City.
Okay.
Minsan, sinasabi nila, Legazpi, wala silang office dito sa Ligao, so Legazpi, yung iba, Pulangi, yung iba sa ibang lugar. So,
building contractors yan. Building contractors. Okay.
Sir. So, bali, sir, nagsisecure lang daw po sila ng business permit for the sake para makapasok sila sa bidding.
Because they're required.
Yes, sir. They are required by the LGU.
So, anong address ang ginagamit nila? Legazpi, Pulangi?
Yes, sir. Yun po yung nakalagay. Kaya nga po, bakit sabi ko, bakit Pulangi to? Bakit dito kayo pupunta sa Ligao?
Oo. Hindi, ganito yun. If that is being tolerated by the BPLO, meaning nag-i-issue sila ng business permit na ang address ay Legazpi City or Pulangi City, there is no need for you to inspect. Hindi kailangan kumuha ng FSIC yan sa inyo. Kasi wala namang building, wala namang facility, wala namang structure dyan sa lugar ninyo. Okay?
Yun na nga rin po, sir, yung query ko. Sabi ko, i-inspect namin, pupunta ba kami ng Legazpi, hindi naman namin yun
Hindi pwede.
Opo. So, kahit hindi na po sila, sir, sasabihin namin sa client na we don't need to secure FSIC.
Hindi. Kailangan ninyo mag-coordinate sa BPLO ng Ligao. No? Tell BPLO ng Ligao na they can immediately issue business permit to that kind of establishment because it does not have to secure FSIC from you.
So, opo. Maliban na lang po, sir, yung mga contractor na naka-base talaga dito sa lugar.
Of course. Or if that contractor will identify an office na sa Ligao, then you inspect the office. Halimbawa, taga-Legazpi siya. For purposes of securing business permit sa Ligao, they actually rented an office or a particular portion of an office. So, hindi na pwede inspection niya.
Yes, sir. Okay. Pero yung wala naman talagang office dito or hindi naman sila, sir, nag-rent, talagang ang office nila is sa ibang lugar, no need na po.
Yes. Kasi wala naman kayong inspection niya.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you po.
Okay.
Sir,
Tapos yan.
Edison muna.
sir. Ako issue po rin po sa transportation, sir.
Okay.
Pagdating po sa pag-secure ng permit sa atin yung terminal, sir, pwede natin isabay yung mga bus nila.
No.
Required natin ng fire protection.
No. Ang sinasabi natin is only buildings, structures, and facilities. Although kasama dyan yung land transportation vehicles, wala pa tayong fire safety requirements for land transportation vehicles. Wala. Kahit balik-balik rin mo ang Rule 10. Walang sinasabi dyan kung ano ang requirements sa buses, kung ano ang requirements sa jeepneys, kung ano ang requirements sa tricycles, and so on and so forth. So, kung ang nag-a-apply sa inyo ay terminal, transport terminal, only inspect the structures and then the surrounding or the vicinity of the transport terminal. Do not include all land transportation vehicles. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Sir, question po. Pagkali na banis.
Go ahead, Carlos.
Sir, pero sir, alam natin, hindi pwede required yung mga baser ng permit. Pwede natin ba sila, sir, i-require ng fire extinguisher habang nagbibiyahe sila?
Alam niyo, hindi tayo ang nagre-require niyan. That's LTFRB. No? That's LTFRB. Hindi natin jurisdiction yan.
Salamat, sir, David.
May iba pang makakot?
Sir, good afternoon, Captain Kaliki.
Go ahead, Darius.
Yan, sir, yung i-clarify ko lang, kung tama ang ginigong ni sir, kasi yung mga online ba, sir, online business nila.
Yes.
Ang binigyan namin ng FSIC kasi, sir, ang base namin yung structure, yung bahay nila, sir, kung tama ang ginagawa. Yun lang tanong ko kung tama.
Correct. Because they're actually holding their business at their house. So, tama yun. Parang problema yun.
Yan lang po, sir. Thank you po.
Okay. So, I hope malinaw sa kuya ang coverage ng fire code, ha? So, after reading all through this coverage sa A to H, from A to H, what do you think are buildings that are exempted by the provisions of the fire code? Sa hiling nindo, igwa daw building, structure or facility, or any process or operation na exempted sa provision ng fire code? Anybody?
Yes, sir.
Ano yun?
Mga embassy, sir.
Embassy. Okay. Because embassies are technically not covered under Philippine jurisdiction. No? So, under international law, they are the jurisdiction of the country of which they belong. No? So, halimbawa, example natin dyan, yung US Embassy sa Rojas Boulevard. Maski ano ang gibuhunta, dahil pwedeng inspection yan na Rojas, yan na US Embassy. Kasi under international law, yan ay jurisdiction kang US. So, pag yaong ka sa loob kang US Embassy, ang nag-i-implement yan na batas ay US law, hindi Philippine law. Okay? Any other?
Question.
Go ahead.
Pagdating sa parts of passion, sino kakandak ng parts of passion?
Wala, hindi tayo. Sila, sarili nila. They are supposed to provide for their own. No? Pero, of course, dahil nandito sa territory natin, we also help. Like, example. Hindi US Embassy, kasi ang US Embassy, I think, may sarili team. Yung mga nagre-renta sa Makati, mga countries na nagre-renta lang sa mga building. Of course, when the building has a fire, you will have to respond because it's within our AOR. Okay? Nakuha mo?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, aside from embassies, ano kasi ilimindo ang exempted? Iba pa kaya exempted sa provision ng Part 2? Wala na siguro, no? I think all others are already covered by the provisions of the Part 2. Although, when we go to details, may mga aspects pa or may mga provisions pa that exempt certain kinds of structures. So, specific na yung exemptions, hindi na general. Okay? have a 15 minutes break. 15 minutes break tayo. Snacks, 15 minutes. May I request to those who do not have a video, kindly please turn on your videos. Again, ayokong makakita ng mga naka-still photos dyan. If you are leaving the class because of personal necessity or any other reasons, kindly provide a message sa chat group, no? So that I will know why you are not in the class. Okay? Kasi kung mag-online kayo and then afterwards aalis din naman kayo, better not be present. Kasi wala rin naman kayong matututunan. So again, yung mga wala pong videos, pictures lang ang nakikita ko or logos, kindly turn on your videos please. Otherwise, I'm going to mark you absent. Class marcher. Asan si marcher? Class marcher.
Sir, dahil nakawala pong signal si class marcher. Ako po yung chairman ng class marcher, sir.
O, Yudi, pakisabihan mo naman yung mga classmates mo na kung hindi rin lang sila makaka-attend, huwag na sila mag-online. Kasi marami sa dulo na walang mga, naka-on lang kunwari, wala namang mga naka-fix logo, naka-fix picture.
Opo, sir.
So next time kamo, kung hindi rin naman kayo makaka-attend, huwag na kayo mag-online.
Opo, sir.
Okay? So we're going to proceed to Rule 3. Rule 3. Rule 3 is definition of terms. We're not going to discuss each and every term that is included under Rule 3. So again, if you need to know what is meant by a particular terminology that you encounter when you read the provisions of the fire code, just go to Rule 3 to tell you what it means. Example, yung apartment building. What does an apartment building mean? So, because when you go to Rule 10 under residential occupancies, there are subclassifications under residential occupancies, and one of the classification is apartment building. So it is defined here. Then the difference, say for example, between approved supervised sprinkler system and automatic fire suppression system. You will observe later on that when you study the extinguishing requirements of the different types of occupancies, some uses the terminology approved supervised sprinkler system, and some other types of occupancy uses the terminology automatic fire suppression system. So, Rule 3 will tell you what is the difference between the two. Ano ang pagkakaiba ng dalawa. So again, whenever you find it necessary to know the meaning or what is meant by the terms used by the fire code, please visit definition of terms under Rule 3. Now, if there are terms that are not defined, that means it is the meaning of this is the ordinary meaning provided for under any dictionary, Webster Dictionary. But if there are technical terminologies which are not defined under Rule 3, you can always consult any NFPA book, no? Kasi karamihan naman sa provisions ng ating fire code are taken from NFPA standards. So, it will give you the same meaning or interpretation. Kung ano yung how it is defined under NFPA, that will probably be the best source of interpretation or meaning for a technical term provided under fire code. So let us proceed directly to Rule 4, which is the authority of the Chief of the Bureau of Fire Protection. Itong Rule 4 is divided into 3 parts. No? The first part is talking about the general authority to enforce the provision of the fire code, which is vested upon the BFP, specifically the Chief of the Bureau of Fire Protection. And the second part talks about functions or authorities that needs the approval of the Secretary of Interior and Local Government. In part 3, those that are not required or a specific authority of the Chief of the BFP that do not require the approval of the Secretary of Interior and Local Government. Now, the basis of this Rule 4 is Section Section 5. No? If you have a copy of the Basic Law, Republic Act 9514, which is signed by the Secretary, which is signed by the President, GMA, in 2008. If you read Section 5, all of the enumerated functions under Section 5, from A to K, requires the approval of the Secretary of Interior and Local Government. So kung babasahin mo yan, letter A, issue IRR, letter B, reorganize the BFP, letter C, support and assist fire volunteer, D, enter into a long-term agreement, E, enter into a memorandum of agreement, F, call on the police, letter G, designate fire safety inspector. So, even designation of the fire safety inspectors, inspection at any reasonable time, tapos, require issuance of FSIC, issuance of notice to stop work requires the approval of the SILG. So, you can just imagine if you are, say, for example, based in Mindanao, mag-i-issue ka ng FSIC, mag-i-issue ka ng order para sa fire safety inspector, kailangan mo ng approval ng SILG. That is what is written under Section 5, if you have a copy. So, that is something that is not practical. Kung set up natin ang pag-uusapan sa Bureau of Fire, that set up, which is incorporated under our main law, is not practical. Hindi yan reasonable sa part ng Bureau of Fire Protection. So, what we did under the IRR is to classify the functions or authorities that requires the approval and those that do not require the approval of the Secretary of Interior and Local Government. So under letter A, we stated first, who is the authorized agency or person to enforce the provision of the fire code. So, dito sa section 4.001, the administration and enforcement of the fire code is vested under the BFP, no? So, this is the justification of Secretary Aguirre when he issued a legal opinion removing the inspection part of PESA to PESA registered entities. For a while. So, sabi ni Secretary Aguirre, PESA has no authority to enforce the provisions of the fire code on PESA registered entities. Kaya, di ba, in 2018 or even before that, kinuha na natin yung authority to inspect and enforce the provisions of the fire code on PESA entities, PESA registered entities. Tayo na ang nag-i-enforce ng provisions ng fire code because of this particular provision. Now, under Section 2, sa 4.002, these are now the functions that require the approval of the Secretary of Interior and Local Government. Meaning, if the Secretary does not approve of our actions regarding this, then it will not be effective. O ano yung mga functions na yun? Number 1, issuance of the IRR. Siyempre, the IRR will not be effective unless it is approved by the Secretary. So, kaya, if you have a copy of the fire code, mapapansin nyo doon sa dulo, siyempre, may pirma sa Secretary approving it before this is published sa newspaper in a general circulation. Letter B, of course, reorganization of the BFP. Any reorganization of the BFP will not be effective unless it is approved by the BFP, by the chief, by the SILG. Kaya nga, nagtataka ako yung bagong organizational structure natin ngayon na ini-impose ng National Office, which is actually nakakalito, do not bear the approval of SILG. So, I do not know what will happen, whether that OS will be effective. Because under the fire code, if you reorganize the BFP, that should have the approval of the Secretary of Interior and Local Government. Letter C, if you want to enter into a long-term agreement, either through public bidding or negotiation for the acquisition of the equipments and many other tools that we need for the enforcement of the fire code. And then, of course, letter D, memorandum of agreement with other departments. Okay, sorry again for the intermission. Dual multitasking tayo. Habang nagtuturo, nag-office. Okay. So, again, the IRR has to be signed by the Secretary for it to be effective. Okay. And then, of course, the organization of the BFP has to be approved by the Secretary. Kaya sabi ko nga sa inyo, nagtataka ko doon sa bagong OS natin, which is supposed to be a reorganization of the BFP. And yet, walang pirma sa Secretary. Tapos, long-term agreements, acquisition ng equipment. Tapos, MOA with other department, bureaus, agencies, instrumentalities of the government, including private institution, for training, whatever purpose, kailangan ng approval ng Secretary. Now, sa Section 3, these are the specific authority of the Chief of the Bureau of Fire Protection without the approval of SILG. So, the performance of this function is, of course, in accordance with the organizational hierarchy depending on which person or which office is assigned to do a particular work, no? So, halimbawa, itong support and assist fire volunteers, practitioners, and fire volunteer organization in the country. We may process it on our own without the approval of the secretary. However, yung issuance of COC for fire volunteers and fire volunteer organization is vested on the regional director. However, yung fire safety practitioner is vested upon the chief BFP. So, depende sa structure, no? And then, of course, external party agreements for the conduct of training, education, and evaluation of fire volunteers, practitioners, and volunteer organization. Pwede rin makipag-MOA tayo without the need of the approval of the SILG only for that purpose. No? And then yung call-out powers, we want to ask the assistance of the NBI, the PNP, the local government unit for effective enforcement of the fire code. Next is designation of the inspectors. Of course, when we designate inspector, who will conduct the necessary inspection on buildings, structures, and facilities, hazardous materials, and hazardous operations. Issuance of the order is actually vested upon the fire marshal ng alam. Hindi na kailangan umakyat sa provincial or the regional director. Of course, issuance of FSIC, and then inspection at reasonable time. So when we say inspect at reasonable time, what do you mean by it? Pag sinabi natin reasonable time, that is in conjunction with the operation of a particular business. So, halimbawa, ang ini-inspection mo ay beer house, a night establishment. Of course, when you inspect it at night, that is reasonable because they are actually open at night. It will be unreasonable for you to let them open in the morning because you will inspect. That's unreasonable. It will also be unreasonable for you to ask an office to wait until probably 6 or 7 at night because you will inspect. No? So that will be unreasonable. So, ang gabi pwedeng maging reasonable depending on the nature of operation of a particular business. Okay? Then, of course, order the owner or occupant to abate and remove hazardous materials or stop hazardous operations or processes. You're going to issue an order. Then require the building owner or occupant to submit plans and specification and issue a written notice to stop work to the owner. So those functions do not need the approval of the secretary. Specific authority natin yan under the fire code depending on who is assigned to do it. Okay? Ito, bigyan ko lang ng particular emphasis itong part na to. However, yung mga specific authorities na yon does not in any way diminish the power of the SILG to change, alter, modify, revise, or amend the actions of the chief BFP. So, binigyan tayo ng karapatan to perform those functions without the approval of the secretary. However, the secretary still retains the power to change the decision of whoever made the decision, alter it, modify it, revise it, or amend the actions of whoever personnel of the BFP is authorized to perform those functions. Siyempre, pag binago yan ni secretary, ni-modify, siyempre may valid reason. Probably there is an abuse of discretion on your part, or you totally lack the authority to do so. So, may complain. So, pwedeng baguhin, pwedeng yamin. Example ko dyan yung protest mechanism. Later on, when we go to Rule 14, there is a protest mechanism or protest mechanism that can be or appeal that can be up to the level of the Secretary of Interior and Local Government. So, probably the regional director already made a decision, the chief BFP already made a decision. But if the office of the secretary finds abuse of discretion, lack of authority, then he may change those decisions, whatever the decisions it may be. Pwede niyang baguhin. Sa Rule 5, ito na yung sinasabi kong Fire Code Technical Staff. As I mentioned to you a while ago, itong Fire Code Technical Staff is the group that is somewhat like an advisory group to the chief of the BFP. Whenever there are issues that are to be resolved, we sometimes give suggestions or directions to the chief BFP on whatever actions they may have. Ang example ko nito, merong isang building na nagka-problema sa Naga City, Cebu. Itong building na to, this is Petronas LPG refilling plant. When the plans for its construction were submitted sa Bureau of Fire Protection, Naga City Fire Station, it was actually issued with fire safety evaluation clearance. So meaning, yung mga required fire safety measures which are supposed to be present in that LPG refilling plant are supposed to be compliant with the fire code. But even if the plans were not in accordance with the fire code, the fire marshal gave or issued the fire safety evaluation clearance. And so it was constructed. But unfortunately, after several years of its operation, a complainant surfaced, may nag-complain. First, it was an anonymous complaint, and then later on, it was followed up by a formal complaint from a competitor, LPG refilling plant din, na competitor nila. Ang issue dito sa Naga refilling plant is yung safe distance. If you have this volume of LPG, there must be a safe distance that you have to comply before another building is constructed or before another property is located. Merong ganung requirements sa fire code. Unfortunately, maikli that the safe distance is not enough. Originally, the Region 7 decided that, according to them, the construction was proper. But the complainant elevated the case to the national office, and the chief BFP then referred the matter to the Fire Code Technical Staff. So what did the Fire Code Technical Staff did? We conducted an investigation, we inspected, and we advised the chief BFP on the proper decision. We found out na mali talaga yung construction, and then so the chief BFP actually reversed the decision of the regional director of Region 7. So it was through the Fire Code Technical Staff. So, sino ba ito? Itong Fire Code Technical Staff should be highly qualified persons who are knowledgeable on fire prevention, fire safety, and fire suppression. They can be from organic members of the BFP, pwedeng other government offices and agencies like DPWH, Occupational Safety and Health Center, or other sources. Pwedeng yung mga private organizations like Philippine Institute of Civil Engineers, Integrated IIEE, Integrated Institute of Electrical Engineers, yung Philippine Society of Mechanical Engineers, United Architects of the Philippines, and many other professional organizations. They can be a source of the membership for the Fire Code Technical Staff. And what are the duties? Ito na yung duties niya. Study, review, and evaluate latest developments and standards on fire safety, prevention and suppression, prepare plans, programs on fire safety, prevention and suppression, and evaluate implementation thereof, develop programs on the professionalization of the fire service, coordinate with appropriate government and private institutions for offering of college courses on fire technology and fire protection engineering, propose amendments to RA 9514 in its IRR. Okay, so yung output ng technical working group na nag-create nitong revised IRR will still submitted to the FARCO's technical staff for approval because we have to recommend it to the Chief PFP. And of course, advise the Chief PFP on any matter brought to its attention or any other functions that which the Chief PFP may delegate to the FARCO technical staff. Okay? Ito yung palagi namin pinapangarap, remuneration, pero wala namang nangyayari. Sana magkaroon ng remuneration, pero wala. Okay? So Rule 6. Rule 6 is now about the fire brigades, fire volunteer organizations, and fire safety practitioners. So, originally, itong Division 1 sa lumang IRR talks about yung kung napansin niyo yung kulay blue dyan, mandatory fire prevention. Before, sa lumang IRR, nakalagay dyan is inspection. So, that's why may mga fire volunteers noon na gusto mag-conduct ng inspection kasi base daw dito sa Division 1, they are allowed to inspect. So, to avoid that conflict, so we actually remove the word inspection and replace it with the word fire prevention. So, this is the scope of Rule 6. The rule governs the organization, equipage, operation, training of company and community fire brigades. So when we say company fire brigades, these are the fire brigades formed by business establishments. When we say company fire brigades, community fire brigades, these are barangay fire brigades now. Sometimes barangay organize their own fire brigades, so they are called community fire brigades. Or a particular group of homeowners, o pwedeng isang subdivision association, can have their own fire brigade organization, so they are called community fire brigades. As well as the continuous training and competency evaluation of fire volunteers and fire volunteer organization, as well as yung fire safety practitioner, kasama dyan. So, sa fire brigade, kailan required ang fire brigade sa isang business establishment? So this is actually a requirement for FSIC. This is actually a requirement for FSIC. If a particular business establishment can accommodate at least 50 persons, then that business establishment need to organize its own fire brigade. Dati, sa lumang IRR, ang nakalagay dyan is all business establishment that employs. So, ang reference dati in order for a business establishment to be required to organize its own fire brigade is the number of employees. Whether they are permanent employees, casual employees, on-the-job trainees, there is no distinction now. So, it is number of employees before. Now, when we revised it, we no longer use the employee, but we now use the occupant load calculation. Occupant load calculation. So, in order for you to determine whether a particular building or business establishment can accommodate 50 or more persons, you need to do an occupant load calculation. So, when we proceed to our rules and later on, I'm going to discuss to you occupant load calculation. For a while. So, you're going to do an occupant load calculation. Sa pagdating natin sa Rule 10, ituturo ko sa inyo kung paano ba kinakalculate yung occupant load. So, basta dito, you need to determine whether a particular business establishment can accommodate at least 50 persons. And if that particular business establishment can accommodate 50 persons, then a fire brigade has to be formed by that business establishment. And it is now a requirement for FSIC. Meaning, hindi ka magbibigay ng FSIC sa establishment na yan kung hindi sila nakapag-organize ng fire brigade. And of course, if they organize the fire brigade, hindi lang organization of the fire brigade, they have to train them. No? You have to train them through probably simple training and seminar, then after that, fire drill. So initially, if a building or if a business establishment is new, you need to form a fire brigade, you need to train them, you have to make a drill. Sa susunod na taon, dahil meron na silang fire brigade, ang gagawin mo na lang sa susunod na taon is training and drill or seminar or drill. Yun na lang ang gagawin mo every year as a requirement for issuance of fire safety inspection certificate. Now, what about for buildings with multiple occupancies? No? Isang building siya, maraming tenants. Pwede bang mag-join sila, magsama-sama sila to form a fire brigade? Yes. So, different tenants of a particular building can actually form its own fire brigade. Halimbawa, if you are familiar with SM Malls, di ba? Itong Robinsons dito sa maraming mga tenants sa kanila. So, they can join force and make their own fire brigade for that particular building. Okay? And then, of course, syempre, barangays are also encouraged to form their own fire brigade. So, yung word is encourage lang. Encourage. So, a COC is issued to fire volunteers, fire volunteer organizations, and fire safety practitioners. That is except company fire brigades. Except company fire brigades. So, doon sa previous provision, if a business establishment can accommodate 50 or more persons, they are required to organize a fire brigade. But that fire brigade does not require a COC. Tandaan po ninyo hindi kailangan ng COC. So fire brigade ni SM, fire brigade ni Robinsons, fire brigade ni any other company, they are not required to secure a COC. Who are required to secure COC? Ito yung mga yung mga company ay yung mga volunteer fire brigades na nagre-responde. Halimbawa, dito sa Naga City, we have the Nagaway. They are required to get the COC. Okay? So, sino ba ang mag-i-issue ng COC? The Certificate of Competency for Fire Safety Practitioners shall be issued by the Chief of the BFP. The Certificate of Competency for Fire Volunteers and Fire Volunteer Organizations shall be issued by the Regional Directors pursuant to the guidelines issued by the Chief of the BFP. So, for Fire Volunteers and Fire Volunteer Organization, ang mag-i-issue ay ang Regional Director. Sa Fire Safety Practitioners naman, ang mag-i-issue naman is the Chief of the BFP. Originally, sa lumang guidelines, ang nag-i-issue ng lahat ng yan ay Regional Director. Pero dito sa ating revised IRR, binago namin. Ni-revise namin. Kasi marami kaming nalaman na may mga Regional Directors na nagbibenta, no? Bayaran lang ng 50,000 kahit hindi nag-training, hindi qualified yung person, binibigyan ng Certificate of Competency. So, sabi namin, kailangan ang mag-issue si Chief BFP para masala ng mabuti. Okay? Of course, the training design shall be developed by the BFP. Meron tayong module, no? May mga module tayong ginawa dyan. Doon sa old IRR natin, nakalagay na doon yung training modules for fire safety practitioners, for fire volunteers, meron na tayong mga modules. However, that needs actually revision. Pero currently, if you want to train them already, you can use that existing module. Then, syempre, they have to be trained on fire prevention, fire suppression, rescue, EMS, and other related emergency response. Yan yung syempre sa specifically doon sa fire volunteers and fire volunteer organization. Sa fire safety practitioner, syempre may separate na module silang pag-aaralan because the purpose of fire brigades or fire volunteer organization and those of fire safety practitioners are different. So inaiiba din ang para sa fire safety practitioner. Ang fire safety engineering practitioners are more on engineering. So, again, gusto kong bigyan ng highlight yung command at the fire scene. No? During firefighting operations, fire brigades and fire volunteer organizations shall be under the direct operational control of the ground commanders of the DFE. So we are now on Rule 7. We are now on Rule 7. This is called assistance and support to the DFT. So, example, from the Philippine National Police, we require laboratory and physical examination of the pieces of evidences that we gathered. Kasi, alam naman natin na ang arson laboratory natin ay nag-iisa lang sa national office. So, in regions where there are crime laboratories of the PNP at meron din silang capability to determine, then we can ask their assistance. Ano pa sa tingin nyo ang pwede natin mahingi na tulong sa PNP? Siyempre, halimbawa, during closure, during business closure, we can ask them to render assistance to us. Siyempre sila may baril, tayo wala. So, kung yung isasara natin business establishment ay may mga guards, may baril, tayo ang dala-dala natin hose, pwede tayo mangingi ng tulong sa PNP for business closure. During firefighting, during fire operations, di ba? They can help us provide security measures for our firefighters, especially doon sa mga squatters area. If you, I don't know, if somebody of you is was already assigned in Manila, kung meron mga galing sa inyo sa Manila. So, firefighters ng Manila will tell you na it's actually very difficult sometimes to respond to fire incident in squatters area. Timbang buhay, no? Medyo aagawin ka ng hose, masasapa ka, masusuntok ka, minsan may saksakan pa. So, we need the assistance of the PNP. Installation of signages, no? Pwede rin tayo mangingi ng tulong sa PNP. Sa mga obstructions, sa designated fire lanes and fire hydrants. Apprehension of violators. No? Halimbawa, nai-arrestahin tayong tao because of continuous violation of the fire code. So, we can ask the assistance of the PNP. Okay? Other law enforcement agencies like NBI, they can serve as expert witness. Halimbawa, we ask them to, kasi ang NBI ay may crime laboratory din ng NBI. So, kung nangingi tayo ng tulong, say for example, sa kanila, then in presenting the evidence that were given by them, we can ask expert witness from them to be presented during the trials for those that are violating the provision or probably doon sa mga arson cases natin. And then pwede ring investigation ng nangingi tayo. Halimbawa, may tumakbong arsonista, pwede tayo mangingi ng tulong sa NBI. Yan. From LGU, yan, local government units. Siyempre, strict observance of the no FSIC, no business permit policy. Yan yung una nating hinihingi sa kanila. Pero again, I'd like to remind you that not all business establishments require FSIC. Katulad nung discuss ko sa inyo sa Rule 2 kanina, hindi ibig sabihin may business permit, kailangan ng FSIC. The business establishments has to have a building, a structure, or facility, or it must be involved in hazardous operation, or it must have hazardous materials para mapasok natin to be inspected. If a particular business establishment do not belong to those that I enumerated, hindi sila kailangan kumuha ng FSIC. So therefore, the local government unit can immediately issue a business permit. Example, ambulant vendors, yung mga land transportation vehicle like tricycle, hindi yan kailangan dumaan sa atin. They can be immediately issued with business permit. Organization and training of fire brigades. So, ang alam naman natin ng LGU, may mga pondo, yung MDRRMO. So, pwede tayo mangingin ng assistance sa kanila para sa training. Summary abatement and closure of buildings. Siyempre, para mas effective yung closure natin, kailangan joint effort ng BFP, barangay, business permit and license office, building official, zoning, BMP, masyadong effective pag nagkakaisa tayo. And then such other duties or functions na pwede natin hingin sa local government unit. Karamihan na hinihingi natin sa LGU is fund support, financial support, pambili ng gasolina, pambili ng bond paper, kasi yung ating support that is being given to us is really not enough. It's really not enough. You have an ailing fire truck, tapos 30 years old already, senior citizen na, kumbaga sa tao senior citizen na, and you are just given 10,000 pesos for its preventive maintenance. Sus Maria Jose. So, kawawa naman yung fire marshal. So, kung yung fire marshal is hindi ma-discovery from LGU, kawawa naman. So, another assistance that we ask from the local government units. How about with other agencies? Example sa Department of Transportation, ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo, fire safety measures in all ports and land transportation vehicles. So currently, we have this effort, nakikipag-usap po tayo sa Department of Transportation, including Marina, pinag-uusapan natin, ano ba yung mga fire safety measures na pwede natin i-impose doon sa mga ships or vessels in terms of Marina. And then sa LTFRB, LTO, doon naman sa mga fire safety measures on buses, jeepneys, tricycles, and so on and so forth. Lahat ng mga public transport, nakikipag-usap tayo sa kanila so that if they are required by municipalities or even cities to secure business permit or any other permit for that matter, and the LGU requests us to inspect this kind of vehicles, then meron tayong standard na pagbabasihan. Kasi alam niyo ang inspection. An inspection should always be based on standard, no? You can only say that a particular structure, facility, building, or vehicle, for that matter, is compliant with the standards if there is something that you base upon, no? Kung wala kang pinagbabasihan, you really cannot declare a particular building to be compliant. Halimbawa, nag-inspection ka ng eskwelahan. You can always say na yung eskwelahan is safe and compliant with the requirements because you are basing your assessment on what is written on the fire code. But in the absence of that fire safety measure, you really cannot say. No? So, kailangan talaga yan. DepEd on fire safety regulations for educational and other applicable facilities. Also for, syempre, school-based fire prevention activities and other initiatives. Pwedeng i-renew ulit yung KD in junior pharmacy lang with the coordination of the Department of Education. Ched, pre, very importantly, yung pag-offer ng courses that are related to fire safety. Dole, yung mga safety officers in building, DICT, for electronic processing of FSIC, EPSEC, electronic payments. Yeah. Yun ang mga pwede natin i-explore from these agencies. Okay? So we now proceed to Rule 8. Rule 8 now, sabi ko nga sa inyo kanina, ito yung pinaka-controversial na provision or rule ngayong revised IRR. Bakit? Nilagyan natin ng qualification yung Chief Excess. Pero bago tayo pumunta sa Chief Excess, pumunta muna tayo sa Fire Safety Inspectors. O, tingnan ninyo ha, kung after ng graduation ninyo sa FAIIC, you will already be qualified. Okay? Sometimes, ayaw nyo, pero kinakailangan ng pagkakataon. Diba? Minsan, ayaw ko mag-inspector sir, nakakapagod, mainit, masira yung lalo na sa mga babae, masira yung makeup, masira yung lipstick, no? Pero kailangan i-designate, gustong i-designate ng hepe, wala kang magagawa. So, tingnan natin if you are qualified. So, for uniform personnel, sa uniform personnel, shall be licensed engineer. That's the first qualification. Shall be licensed engineer with at least 1 year PFP service. Okay. Or shall be an architect. 1 year BFP service. Or yan ha, or hindi yan. Ha? Pwedeng engineer na may 1 year service, or an architect na may 1 year service, or graduate of any baccalaureate degree course with at least 3 years of service. So, pag inhinyero or arkitekto ka, you only need 1 year experience. Pwede ka nang i-designate as fire safety inspector. Pero pag hindi ka inhinyero or arkitekto, kailangan mo muna ng 3 taon na experience bago ka ma-designate na fire safety inspector. So that is insofar as educational background is concerned. Number 2, letter B. Non-uniform personnel appointed as engineers with at least 1 year service. So pag NUP ka, tapos ang IT mo is engineer, kailangan may 1 year ka rin na service. Kaya take note ha, engineers lang. Hindi pwede yung electrical inspector, hindi pwede yung building inspector, hindi pwede yung admin aide, hindi pwede yung administrative staff, hindi pwede yun. Kahit pa engineer ka by profession, pero ang item na nakuha mo ay admin aide or admin staff, hindi ka pwede mag-inspection. Letter C, must have undergone and completed the prescribed training on fire safety enforcement and other relevant fire safety training. So, dalawa lang naman pala kailangan mong i-comply para maging fire safety inspector ka. Education and training. Okay? Education and training. So, sa education, pwede lahat. Engineer or non-engineer, pwede lahat. Ang difference lang is experience na kailangan mo. 1 year or 3 years. Okay. Tapos, second requirement is training. So, currently, pag sinabi mong training, ang nire-require natin is 40 hours or FAIIC. So, pagkatapos nito, lahat kayo pwede nang maging fire safety inspector. Based on the qualification that I enumerated. Lahat naman kayo bachelor's degree course holders, di ba? And I'm sure more than 3 years na kayo. Di ba? O tapos matatapos ninyo yung FAIIC, qualified na kayong fire safety inspector. Hindi ka na pwedeng tumanggi. No? Hindi ka na pwedeng tumanggi. Kasi qualified ka na based on the law. Qualified ka na as fire safety inspector. Now, here is a question. Here's a question. Halimbawa, there is an engineer and a non-engineer. Parehas na kayo may required training. Yung engineer, more than 1 year na. Yung non-engineer, more than 3 years na. Parehas na kayo. May appropriate training. Okay. Ang kailangan lang ni Fire Marshal is to designate one fire safety inspector. Isang fire safety inspector lang. Dalawa kayong pinagpipilian. Sino sa tingin ninyo ang dapat i-prioritize ni Fire Marshal? Anybody?
Engineer, sir.
Correct. Why is that so? Kung titingnan ninyo, the way it was presented in the fire code is that it is giving priority to engineers. No? Kaya, instead of saying na any baccalaureate degree, which already includes engineer, kasi pag sinabi mong any baccalaureate degree, that already includes engineer. So why did the fire code actually made a separate provision for licensed engineer or licensed architects? Ang ibig sabihin niyan is, the fire marshal should prioritize engineers or architects over those non-engineers and non-architects. So yan po ang ibig sabihin ng provision ng fire code. So pumunta naman tayo dito sa plan evaluators. Okay? A must be licensed engineer or architect. So this time, it is no longer mentioning any experience. Wala nang 1 year, wala nang 3 years. Letter B, shall have undergone and completed prescribed training on fire safety enforcement and other relevant training. Okay? So, pangalawang requirement is dapat may training ka. So, number 1, dapat lisensyadong arkitekto o inhinyero. Pangalawa, may training. In cases, or in areas, in cases where there is no licensed engineer or architect in a specific jurisdiction, graduate of any baccalaureate degree course with relevant fire safety and building evaluation training shall be designated as plan evaluator. So, pwede na naman lahat. Kasi any baccalaureate degree na naman basta may training. Pero again, bakit sa letter A, binanggit na naman yung must be licensed engineer or architect? Simple lang naman ang ibig sabihin niya. Kung may arkitekto o inhinyero dyan sa fire station, siya muna ang piliin mo bago yung non-engineer. Okay? That's what it's meant. Okay? So, pumunta tayo sa, Chief FSS. Chief FSS. Number 1, with the rank commensurate to the position prescribed. So, kung pagbabasihan mo yung organizational structure natin ng 2017, ang Chief FSS is from SFO2 to Senior Inspector. Okay? Number 2, must be a licensed engineer or architect with at least 3 years in the BFP. O engineer or architect na naman ang sinasabi. Must have undergone and completed prescribed training on fire safety enforcement and other relevant fire safety training. Letter B. In cases where the rank requirement cannot be complied, any personnel with lower rank who is a licensed engineer or architect or a graduate of any baccalaureate degree with at least 5 years of service in the BFP may be designated as Chief FSS or unit. No? So, pag wala daw qualified in terms of rank, pwedeng any personnel, basta engineer or architect, pwedeng ma-designate. O letter C, meron na namang in cases where there is no ranking uniform personnel or officer, a non-uniform personnel, which is at least Engineer 4, may be designated as Chief Excess, provided may training siya. No? So, lahat naman pala pwede mag-Chief Excess. Pero again, sabi ng fire code, prioritize muna naman ulit yung engineer or architect. Diba? Malinaw po mga kasama? Of course, ito yung mga duties and responsibilities ni Chief Excess. Review and evaluate reports submitted by the fire safety enforcers and recommend approval to the fire marshal concerned. Yan po talaga ang trabaho ni Chief Excess. Magbasa ng report. Nung ako nasa Quezon City, I have 130 fire safety inspectors. And they are required to submit 5 inspection reports a day because we have around 80,000 registered business establishments in Quezon City. That is, of course, aside from, syempre, yung mga building under construction, yung mga new buildings that are to be inspected, yung mga verification inspection. So, that means ang dami namin ini-inspection. So, kailangan namin kailangan nilang mag-submit ng 5 inspection reports a day. So ako, I have to review 650 reports a day. So, pag naupo ka sa table mo, pag angat ng ulo mo, lunchtime na. After lunch, pag angat ulit ng ulo mo, hapon na. Because you have to review really so many reports, no? And then, of course, assist the fire marshal in implementing fire safety measures, supervise or monitor the activities of the inspectors, recommend to the fire marshal the filing of appropriate charges for violators. Ito ang malupit, testify in any judicial or quasi-judicial bodies. O ako, ang dami ko ng experiences dyan, no? Testifying in various courts about the fire code of the Philippines. Pwedeng expert witness, pwedeng witness ng prosecution against fellow BFP personnel. Medyo nakakalungkot lang because you have to be a witness against fellow firefighter. But, that is part of your obligation. That is part of your function. So, wala kang magagawa. You really have to be a witness. If you read sa Facebook, may recent news, di ba? Yung Kentex, na-dismiss yung kaso sa Sandigan Bayan. Kung nabasa ninyo po yun, yung Kentex fire, yung former Fire Marshal of Valenzuela, si Superintendent Lagan, na-dismiss yung kaso niya sa Sandigan Bayan. I was a witness in that particular case. So fortunately, the Sandigan Bayan dismissed the case against them. Okay? Ang medyo nakakalungkot lang doon, that is the criminal side. Pero yung administrative side, I do not know if maayos pa nila yung dismissal nila from the service. Okay? So you have to testify in any judicial or quasi-judicial bodies relating to the fire code. There is also one particular case sa Quezon City Regional Trial Court. May pinasara kaming building sa Quezon City, and then the building filed a case against the BFP. Now, although civil case siya, so I was testifying in that case for too long. For so many years, it has been pending, pero hindi pa na-resolve. Okay? So, you also have to testify in those cases. So, professionalization, these are just another mistake. Okay? Any question before we end? I'm going to discuss Rule 9 tomorrow. Any question before we end this afternoon's class? May tanong po ba? Any question, class? None? Walang gustong magtanong?
Wala pa yata, sir, ngayon. Naubos na kanina. Bukas naman, sir. Marami kasi, sir, question pagdating sa mga, sir, implementation baga po.
Okay. Sige. Anyway, we'll still have a lot of time discussing the fiber of the Philippines. So if you encounter some issues or some problems before which is not clear to you, so you can actually raise those questions. And whenever I'm discussing topics which you think are not clear, so you may ask questions. So anyway, class, let's call it a day. Medyo masakit kasi sa lalamunan. Alam niyo, nung bata-bata ako, I can discuss the fire code in 1 week, morning and afternoon until evening. Kaya ako napapaas. Noon yan, half day sana. After alas 5, paas na ako. Kaya, at siya nabanggit, pwede mag-beer ka. Sa agad, ako ang pieces. So anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. At again 1 o'clock. No? And then we're going to continue discussing Rule 9 and then 11 to 14. I hope to finish rules 9 and 11 to 14 tomorrow. And the third day, we're going to proceed to Rule 10. So let's call it a day. Thank you and good afternoon. See you tomorrow.